Today, I'm going to show you how to make fresh, homemade kombucha, a probiotic drink that will empower your gut so you can have more energy and feel great each and every day. After all, you deserve it. Oh yeah, and I'm also going to show you how to make a SCOBY Hotel. That's right. Each batch of kombucha you make, you're creating SCOBYs that you can pass on to your friends so they can make their own kombucha to empower their gut and become the best versions of themselves. What you'll need to make your kombucha. I use a gallon glass jar, preferably wide mouth. That way you can fit your SCOBYs in and out of it. You'll need something to cover it. A fine weave, unbleached cotton cloth. A paper towel will do. A coffee filter. A t-shirt or cheesecloth. A rubber band to secure it. Stick-on temperature strips are optional if you want to know exactly what temperature you're fermenting it at. A funnel, and I like to use these cool flip-top bottles for my kombucha. Ingredients include 4 cups of filtered water for boiling, 1 tablespoon of loose leaf black tea. I like to use English black tea by US Wellness Naturals. They're organic. And they're not a sponsor. I just thought I'd share what I use. Or you can use 2 organic black tea bags. That would be just fine. A 1/4 cup organic cane sugar. I use fair trade. You'll need 2.5 cups of cold filtered water. A 1/2 cup of starter tea. This will come from a previously brewed batch or the SCOBY that you got. 1 SCOBY is what you're going to need for this recipe. And SCOBY stands for symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. Think of optional flavors you might want to have on hand. Fruits, spices, herbs. I love ginger. If you look here, you might be able to see the ginger marinating in there. Gives it an extra bite. And I like carbonation. I don't know if you could tell, but this one's got pretty good carbonation in it. Let's start by boiling our 4 cups of water. Once it reaches a boil, turn the stove off. Then put your tea in there and let it steep for about 10 to 15 minutes. That brings out the flavor. Next, strain the tea from the tea leaves and then add the 1/4 cup of sugar. Stir it around till it's dissolved. This sugar is the food for the SCOBY. You're going to want to let it sit and cool to room temperature so the extreme heat doesn't disrupt the fermentation process. Now here's a chance for a good science lesson. What the heck is happening during fermentation? I'll tell you. In the initial stage, you got sugar, which is sucrose. This gets broken down into fructose and glucose during the fermentation process. Yeast then converts that glucose and fructose into alcohol and carbon dioxide. Bacteria then convert the alcohol into acetic acid and other organic acids. The result is really quite magical. You get this effervescent, tangy beverage. You convert the sugar, which is highly abused and problematic in our society these days, and you convert it into acidity. And then along the way, you get all these benefits like probiotics, enzymes, and vitamins. You can enjoy it, having peace of mind, knowing that you're doing your body right. Once your sweet tea is cooled, you're going to pour it into a clean and sanitized jar. Then you're going to add the 1/2 cup of starter tea. This came from the SCOBY you just got or a previously brewed batch. Add the 2.5 cups cold water. Cover your jar with a cloth. Put the rubber band over it. You want to make sure it can breathe, but at the same time, you want to keep the insects and the dust out. Put it in a warm place away from sunlight. Temperature, ideally it's going to be between 68 and 78 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 20 to 26 degrees Celsius. Let your kombucha ferment for 7 to 14 days. I push it to 14. I'll tell you why in a minute. The warmer it is, the faster it's going to ferment. Remember that. You can check it periodically to make sure everything's going all right. When you start to see the bubbles forming at the surface of the kombucha, you know it's about ready. You can taste it if it's got that effervescent, tart flavor, and you dig that, it's ready. It's time to bottle your kombucha. As I mentioned, my favorite flavor to add, ginger. Feel free to add the fruit, spices, herbs, Save 1 cup of the kombucha with your SCOBY in it so you can prepare for your next batch. Once you seal your bottles, you can put it right in the fridge. I like to keep them out of the fridge for 1 to 3 days. This is going to boost the carbonation, which I love. And it's going to enhance the fermentation of the fruits. Or ginger. Once you've put your bottles in the fridge, that's going to halt the fermentation process. And you're good to go for several weeks to a few months. It's going to vary depending on how clean your bottles were, how tight the seal is, so keep that in mind. Don't forget to set aside a half cup of your newly brewed kombucha and keep your SCOBY in there. Initially, this is going to go right back to your next batch. But after about the 3rd time doing this, you're going to discover some more magic. Another SCOBY will completely come out of nowhere seemingly. And then this one is going to go toward your SCOBY Hotel. And each time you go through about 3 batches, from what I found, it's going to be different for everybody, case by case. But each time you do that, you're going to get another SCOBY to add to your hotel. So let's get that hotel going now. Let's say you've got that extra SCOBY. You're ready to start your hotel. You've got your half cup of freshly brewed kombucha, and there's your SCOBY. You're going to repeat what you just did for this first batch. You're going to take 1 cup of boiling water. You're going to add the tea. About 10 to 15 minutes, you're going to let it steep. Then you're going to strain the tea from the tea leaves, and you're going to add the sugar. Mix it up, let it cool down to room temperature. Once your sweet tea has cooled, you're going to add the 2.5 cups cold water, and then your freshly brewed batch with your SCOBY is now your starter tea. Pour that in too. Cover it with a cloth, put the rubber band on it, put it in a warm place away from direct sunlight, same temperatures, and it's just going to sit there. Every 4 weeks though, 4 to 6 weeks, you're going to want to add sweet tea to it. This is consistently feeding your SCOBY, and you want to keep those levels up so they're completely submerged. And guess what? As time goes by, you're going to keep adding SCOBYs to that hotel. And every 4 to 6 weeks, you're going to keep feeding it with the sweet tea. And then, when you have friends who are curious and want to start brewing, you can lend them your SCOBY with the starter tea. And there you have it. You just made your first batch of kombucha. You bottled it up. And now, you've got your SCOBY Hotel building your arsenal of SCOBYs for optimal health. Subscribe if you found this helpful today. Leave a comment. I want to know what you think. What's been your experience with brewing? And like the video. Hit the notification bell. I want you to know of upcoming videos so I can empower you with healthy tips. Don't forget, I love you.